assistance with. This is from Fernie, British Columbia. I assume that's a town in British Columbia.
Oh yes, that's the great Alexander Zivojevic.
Zivo. You have a picture of him.
Yes.
What
does Alexander Zivojevic ask? What does he ask? How do you say his name? Zivojevic.
All right, everyone repeat that. Never mind. So he asks you, can you describe the meaning of the word shrieve and the origin of the word shravis?
Okay, so you know who wrote that question, right? That guy. You sent it in. So a shrieve is... Let's talk about the word shrivis first. There's this word in the Rush lexicon, like we had our own language, and there are many words in the Rush lexicon. Shrivis is a word that means when the situation is really kind of indistinct, unsure, unclear, messed up. Like, you know, if you're going to expect a gig to be set up on time and you get in and the gear's everywhere, nothing's set up, that's a shrivis situation. And so when we first decided we needed an assistant on tour with us, we didn't know what to call him. So we called him a shrieve because his job description was kind of shrivis. Anyway, thank you, Alexander Zivojevic.
Thank you, Alex.
Now let's get to
Alex
local people.
Oh, by the way, I was reading in the book, and as it goes on, there are the names Pratt and Lurkst. And those came about, they represent the other two members of your band, but how did those names come about?
Oh God, who can remember?
Because towards the end of the book, you only refer to them as Pratt and what's it?
Yeah, Pratt and Lurkst, and I was Dirk, and that actually became Peak, Leak, and Deek in our last few years. We had 1,000 nicknames for each other. It was always a thing, and Lurkst was, his name was mangled by our first tour manager, Howard Ungerleider. Some of you may have seen him at the lighting board. He has this God complex. Let there be light. Anyway, he had this hilarious way of talking, and he'd take any word and just add some noises to the end of it. So Alex became Allerkst, became Allerkst, became Lurkst. And I can't remember the origin of Pratt. He probably was acting like a Pratt, so we called him that.
All right. Let us take a question from Alex DeAngelis. Says,
Wait, where are you, Alex? Are you here?
If you're here,
Hey.
you can stand up.
Hi,
There he
Alex.
is. Hi, Alex. He writes, I've been a fan ever since I was born, thanks to my dad. My first show was July 17th, 2004 at the MGM in Las Vegas on the R30 tour. 26 shows later, my last show was July 25th, 2015 at MGM on my birthday. I ask you, was ending the Clockwork Angels tour with The Garden, with that song, was that intentional? Or was that just the way it worked out? And did you know that Clockwork Angels would be the last album? So first, did you intend to end it with The Garden?
Thank you. Originally, no. You know, that tour was very carefully orchestrated because we were trying to tell this. He's talking about the Clockwork Angels,
Yeah.
R40 or the...
Well, I think he's talking about R40, here.
R30, he's talking about R30.
Well, he was at R30, I think he's talking about R40.
Oh, he's talking about the album.
Yeah.
Yes. It was...
Oh, I get it. I get it. Okay.
Now I get you. Yeah, we always intended on ending with The Garden because in the story that Neil writes about this character who goes on this incredible life journey, this is the end of his life, and he's looking back and thinking about the good and the bad, and he's really philosophizing. And for me, personally, I think it's one of the most brilliant lyrics that Neil ever wrote. And, it's so full of wisdom, and I think hard-fought wisdom, you know. The man had a very difficult life, especially in the last 20 years of his life. And so he learned a lot of things, and he shared his wisdom with us, in particular in that song. So thank you.
And did you know that Clockwork Angels would be the last album? Did you think that when you completed it? Because
No.
you did it differently. You took more time. You wanted to each be able to get back to your families. You didn't, overdo yourself in the process.
Well, that whole period, was all about Neil and his second family.
Right.
He had found someone to love again, and he'd had a child. And so we tried to accommodate him as much as we could, because he needed to be with this new family. He didn't want to miss anything of Olivia's growing up. So that's why we recorded in Los Angeles. We did a lot of the record in Los Angeles. And so at the time, of course, we did not think it would be the last record. And I wish we had done more, but that's not the way fate worked things out for us. So thank you very much for